Imagine this. You've worked a 12-hour shift saving lives. Your body aches, your stomach's empty, and all you want is to collapse at home. But when you turn into your driveway, someone else is there. A giant SUV, bold as daylight, blocking you from your own home. And when you call the neighbor who put it there, he says, "Just park on the street, it's not a big deal." Well, it became a very big deal. Because that night, a woman decided she'd had enough. And the revenge that followed cost her neighbor nearly $300 and his smug little habit forever. If you've ever had someone walk all over your kindness, if you've ever been disrespected in your own home or your own space, you're going to love this story. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and get ready, because this is one of the most satisfying tales of petty revenge you'll ever hear. I live in a small cul-de-sac, nothing fancy, just your typical suburban neighborhood. Kids ride bikes in the summer, mailboxes lean a little after winter storms, and every house has its own little slice of pavement in front. The driveway. My driveway fit 2 cars, mine and my husband's. Perfectly fine. It wasn't grand, but it was ours. And in neighborhoods like this, there's an unspoken rule. Your driveway is your driveway. It's your boundary, your little claim of land where your family parks, unloads groceries, waves goodbye in the mornings. It's personal. For the most part, everyone here minded their own business. People waved, nodded, and carried on. That is, everyone except Jack. Jack was my neighbor. You know the type. Casual smirk, loud laugh, the kind of guy who always acted like rules were suggestions for other people. He wasn't outwardly aggressive, just casually disrespectful. Always leaning on that false charm, like if he smiled wide enough, people wouldn't call him out. The first time it happened, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I came home and saw a strange car in my driveway. His brother's, apparently. Jack waved it off, said it would just be a sec. Annoying, sure, but it was one time. I let it go. We all try to be good neighbors, right? Nobody wants tension over something small. A week later, another car. This time a friend of his. I asked again. Same smile, same shrug. Not a big deal. It became a pattern. A truck one day, a minivan another. Each time I'd come home from work, exhausted, my body aching from 12-hour nursing shifts. And there it was, someone else's car, planted like a flag in my driveway. I tried to speak up. Every time, Jack's reaction was the same. That half smile, that casual tone, like I was the one being difficult. That's when I realized this wasn't just about a driveway. It was about respect. And maybe that's what made it worse. Not just the inconvenience. Not just the groceries digging into my arms, or the long walks after midnight shifts. It was the dismissal, the smugness, the message underneath his words. Your space doesn't matter. Your rules don't matter. You don't matter. So after that humiliation, something inside me shifted. I wasn't the same anymore. I used to avoid conflict. I used to let things go. But that night, when I got back home, I just stared at my reflection and thought, this can't be my life. That moment wasn't about rage. It was about clarity. I knew if I didn't stand up now, this pattern would keep repeating. They would keep treating me like trash, and I would keep shrinking. And that thought scared me more than them. So I decided to fight back, but not with fists, not with cheap words. I wanted to destroy them where it would actually hurt. I still remember those days vividly. Every morning I would wake up early, sit quietly with a notebook, and just plan. I didn't want blind revenge. I wanted smart revenge. I studied their habits. When they showed up, when they got drunk, when they cheated people. I began writing everything down, the scams they ran, the money they stole, the lies they told. I even got close to some of the people they had betrayed before. Bit by bit, I was building a case. And the crazy part? They had no idea I was doing this. They thought I was still the quiet guy who would never stand up, but inside I was turning into someone else entirely. One night I overheard something that broke me even more. They weren't just mocking me. They were planning to mess with my family, too. They laughed about taking advantage of my younger sister, about harassing her when she walked home from school. That was the exact second my revenge stopped being optional. It became survival. And I swear to you, from that night on, I didn't feel fear anymore. I felt fire. Now here's the interesting part. When people imagine revenge, they think of a dramatic confrontation. But the truth? The most powerful revenge is slow, calculated, and invisible. I started collecting proof, photos, recordings, screenshots of their online scams. Every detail. It took months. While they thought I was invisible, I was becoming the one person who knew everything about them. I cut ties with friends who were still in their circle. I worked extra hours, saved money, stayed quiet. They thought I was weak. But I was preparing. Then came the night I had been waiting for. A local festival. The whole neighborhood was out. Music, food stalls, drinks. And they? Drunk, loud, overconfident. That night, while they were busy partying, I made my move. I uploaded everything, every scam, every theft, every dirty secret, to anonymous forums, to the local police email, even to the people they had cheated. Within hours, their phones started blowing up, people shouting, demanding money back, and me, I just stood at a distance, watching the panic unfold. David sat in his small, dimly lit apartment, papers scattered on the table, his laptop open with financial documents blinking on the screen. He whispered to himself, "Tomorrow, he won't just lose money. He'll lose everything he thought made him untouchable." The boss had organized a high-profile conference. Journalists, investors, and partners filled the hall. Cameras flashed as the man boasted about his company's integrity. But just as he smiled for the cameras, David entered the hall, not as an employee, but as a speaker, because David had secretly registered as a whistleblower under a new corporate law. David clicked a button on his laptop. The big screen behind him lit up with documents, falsified accounts, emails, proof of misconduct. Every secret the boss buried was now in the open. The investors started whispering. Journalists began recording. Boss stammering. This is nonsense. Lies. David. Lies don't have receipts, but your crimes do. Within days, lawsuits rained down. Investors pulled out. The board removed him. His mansion was raided. His empire, built on arrogance and abuse, collapsed like a house of cards. And David? He walked away. Not rich, but free. Because sometimes revenge isn't about money. It's about dignity. David stood on a bridge at night, city lights reflecting in the river. He thought about the years of pain, humiliation, and silence. For the first time, he didn't feel small. He didn't destroy his boss for power. He did it so no one else would suffer the way he did. David said, "Revenge isn't about hurting them. It's about reclaiming yourself." This wasn't just David's story. It's a reminder. When someone tries to crush you, don't fight them on their terms. Build your own. Collect your strength. And when the time comes, make sure your silence turns into a roar. If this story moved you, share it, because someone out there is silently fighting their own battle. And if you want more powerful true stories like this, subscribe, because we've only just begun.